All right, good evening, everyone. I certainly hope and pray that all is well. I'm gonna go ahead and get started tonight. I'm going to do some reading. Okay. That might, I don't know if that's what you're looking for tonight, but I'm gonna be reading here from the Four Agreements. Okay, I'm not gonna read the introduction, and yeah, I'm not gonna read the introduction. We're just gonna get started, but it is some good background information. Okay. First chapter here is called Domestication and the Dream of the Planet. You know, I'm going to read and stop and talk and so on and so forth. All right. All right, let's get started. What you are seeing and hearing right now is nothing but a dream. You are dreaming right now in this moment. You are dreaming with the brain awake. Dreaming is the main function of the mind. You know how they talk about daydreaming. You know, why are you daydreaming? You see somebody sitting there staring. I guess people still say that. And the mind dreams 24 hours a day. It dreams when the brain is awake, and it also dreams when the brain is asleep. The difference is that the brain is awake. There is a material frame that makes us perceive things in a linear way. All right. When we go to sleep, we do not have the frame, and the dream has the tendency to change constantly when we're asleep. Humans are dreaming all the time. Before we were born, the humans before us created a big outside dream, okay, that we will call society's dream or the dream of the planet. The dream of the planet is the collective dream of billions of smaller personal dreams, which together create a dream of a family, okay? All the humans on earth. A dream of a community, a dream of a city, a dream of a family. I added that part. A dream of a country, and finally, here it is, a dream of the whole humanity. The dream of the planet includes, listen up, because I've talked about this. The dream of the planet includes all of society's rules, its beliefs, its laws, its religions, its different cultures, and ways to be, its governments, schools, social events, and holidays. Okay? That's the dream of the planet. In other words, how to be, the rules, the regulations, okay, so on and so forth. All the various institutions, education, health, religion, once again, okay, events, holidays, so on and so forth. We are born with the capacity to. Now, I'm just going to say this real quick, interject. This what I'm reading here right now, okay? I went over this not out of this book when I did my religious study series when I first started this second channel here, okay? Find the same exact information. We are born with the capacity to learn how to dream. And the humans who live before us teach us how to dream the way the society dreams. Okay. In other words, okay, we're born with the capacity to dream. Those who come before us, okay, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, older siblings, teachers, clergymen, okay, or women, okay, religious leaders, spiritual leaders, okay, doctors, those that are before us and have some kind of authority on us, okay, they teach us how to dream. Okay. They teach us how to dream the way the society dreams. So whatever the dream is of the society, again, the rules, the laws, the regulations, the religions, the cultures, ways to be, this is what they teach us. They teach us how to dream the same dream. How, in other words, how to be as a human being, okay, in the society, in the world. The outside dream has so many rules that when a new human is born, we hook the child's attention and introduce these rules into his or her mind. through various means, through some form of communication. The outside dream, here it is, uses mom and dad, the schools, and religion to teach us how to dream. Okay. Now, he said how to dream. I don't know if I would say maybe more so what to dream, but this is his book here. This is by Don Miguel Ruiz. I'm sure a lot of people have heard this, but there he is right there. Okay. These are some of the things that I talk about when I'm just, just talking or whatever. Rules, regulations given to us. Okay. Now I say by powers, rulers, principalities, powers that be. And they're told that we are told these things. This is how you do this. This is what you believe. This is and through various institutions, once again, whether it be religions, governments, cultures, media, art, so on and so forth. Okay. And who teaches us these things? Mom, dad, schools, religion, so on and so forth, these authorities, those that are over us. Okay. Attention is the ability we have to discriminate and to focus only on that which we want to perceive. We can perceive millions of things simultaneously. Okay, human beings are complex. Okay. You know how they say, to focus on one thing. There's some who say the exact opposite. Why? When you can do so many things. Okay, so that you can master that one thing. Why? You can master it all. I've heard another thought out there that you can master all many things at one time. Okay. And I find that interesting because you usually don't hear that. Okay. But anyway, but again, perception. Okay. How you choose to use your mind. Okay. Do you choose to use it in the way that you've been told and it can only be this way by just some arbitrary thought that somebody gave you, that somebody higher than you gave you? Or do you choose to say, I'm going to think for myself and do it my way? Because why? Why not question that thing there? Okay. Once again, we can perceive millions of things simultaneously, but using our attention, we can hold whatever we want to perceive in the foreground of our mind. The adults around us hooked our attention and put information into our minds through repetition. Okay. That is the way we learned everything we know, through repetition. So I'm just going to say this, like one time, and when I had my old channel and people started trolling me, people that I know here and whatnot, and they didn't think I know it was them, I would repeat things. Why are you, trolling? Why are you repeating the same thing? That's how we learn. Okay. So hopefully those people are in here tonight so they can be in a space of learning. And since it's a man who's saying this that I'm reading from, then I'm sure you can hold it. Okay, and be open to it. So a lot of times people can't learn when it's a woman saying it. They have a problem with it. Or it's specifically you they have a problem with. Okay. Then they leave. Okay. But nevertheless, this is the way we learned everything we know, through repetition. Just to repeat it over and over and over. That's part of a huge part of our existence, doing this, repeating things. Okay. And you don't even have to force yourself to memorize it. It's just programmed in you. Okay. By using our attention, we learned a whole reality, a whole dream. We learned how to behave in society. That was said in that series. We learn how to behave in society. Whatever that specific society, whatever the rules and regulations are. Okay. What to believe. We were taught what to believe. And what not to believe. We're taught what not to believe. What is acceptable and what is not acceptable. What is good and what is bad. What is beautiful and what is ugly. What is right and what is wrong. It was all there already, all that knowledge, all those rules and concepts about how to behave in the world. Okay. Let's keep going. When you were in school, you sat in a little chair and put your attention on what the teacher was teaching you. Everybody look up there. Everybody sitting back here, there's a teacher. Same thing in the church. Okay. Or some whatever kind of religious organization. There's the authority up there. Okay. And everybody's sitting focused attention on that person. On that, not just that person, but that authority. And that authority is there to teach us what is right, what is wrong, what to believe, what not to believe, what is acceptable, so on and so forth. What I just read. When you went to church, you put your attention on what the priest or minister was telling you. It is the same dynamic with mom, dad, brothers, and sisters. They were all trying to hook your attention. We also learn how to hook the attention of other humans, and we develop a need for attention, which can become very competitive. Excuse me. Hold on real quick. I'm gonna do something here real quick. Hold on. Okay. All right, let's keep going here. Okay. I'm going to read that one more time. We also learn to hook the attention of other humans, and we develop a need for attention, which can become very competitive. Children compete for the attention of their parents, their teachers, their friends. Look at me, look at me. Look at what I'm doing. Hey, I'm here. Okay, this is what children do. But this is what adults do, human beings do. Okay. The need for attention becomes very strong and continues, here it is, and continues into adulthood. Okay, like I said, adults too. The outside dream that is outside of us, that we have been told this is what it is. Adapt. Not just adapt, soak it in. Become a part. Okay. The outside dream hooks our attention and teaches us what to believe, beginning with the language that we speak. Language is the code for understanding and communication between humans. Every letter, every word in each language is an agreement. Okay. We call this a page in a book. The word page is an agreement that we understand. Once we understand the code, our attention is hooked and the energy is transferred from one person to another. So, like my very first semester teaching, was it my first semester? Yeah. I was teaching. No, that was my first semester at that campus. Okay, this was Tri-C Western Campus in Parma. We got into this kind of conversation here, and the students started talking about this thing, agreement. Here, exactly what I'm reading, and one guy said, like, we all say the sky's blue, but we really don't know if that is the color that it is, but we have all agreed, whether consciously or not, that that's what it is. So that's what we all call it. Exactly. Okay. We all in the human realm have agreed to these things. Okay. Whatever the thought process is, the people have agreed to it. Otherwise, it would not be if we didn't agree to it. It couldn't last. It was not your choice to speak English. Okay. Neither were these other rules, regulations, this dream that this man is talking about here. It wasn't your choice. These weren't your choices. This is what we were told. This is what it is. This is how to be in the world. This is how to be a human being. This is what you believe. This is how you act. This is what is acceptable, so on and so forth. Philosophies, thought processes, everything. And here he continues. You didn't choose your religion. You didn't. It was chosen for you. Okay. or your moral values. Now, even if you made a choice, maybe you weren't raised, I don't know, Muslim or something, and as adult you became Muslim. It's not the religion in and of itself. It is what he's saying is the dream that you were told about it, or what it was. Okay. You didn't put that together. They were already here before you were born. You didn't put that together. It was here before you were born. Okay. Then we have our historians and whatnot who look these things up, tell us the origins if they can find them. Okay. Or they'll just say we surmise that. In other words, well, this is what we only can, the conclusion we can come to, but we ain't 1000% for sure. We never had the opportunity to choose what to believe or what not to believe. Didn't. This is what you were told. This is the dream. Absorb it, become it. We never chose even the smallest of these agreements. We didn't even choose our own name. Ain't that something? It's so funny. We didn't choose our own name, and that's true. Okay. Yet sometimes people just have the hardest time with accepting that a person wants to change their name. And call them ridiculous. Why are they ridiculous? Because they have come in tune with themselves and they find a name that's a better fit for them than what their mother or father gave them. As children, we didn't even have the opportunity to choose our beliefs, but we agreed with the information that was passed to us from the dream of the planet via other humans. The dream of the planet. Now, we ain't talking about just your little household, okay? Or just between you and your mother. No, the planet. Everything, all the thought processes here. All of it. That's when people say they're free thinkers, and absolutely you're not. You might have chosen a different thought than what you were raised with. But the thought that you did choose to take on was already here. You just found something that you resonate with more, or you like more, or whatever the case may be. Trust and believe. If you have a new thought, there's somebody else out in that world who has it as well. You may end up finding a whole community of people that do. The only way to store information is by agreement. The outside dream may hook our attention, but if we don't agree, we don't store that information. Okay, I don't believe that. I don't agree with that. Moving on. Okay. As soon as we agree, we believe it. You believe it. And when human beings believe something, they think that that's law. That's bond. That is what it is. If anybody thinks differently than that, then something must be wrong with them. They're crazy, they're strange, or whatever. And you've only seen a extremely minute piece of the world. But let's keep on going. As soon as we agree, we believe it. And this is called faith. To have faith is to believe unconditionally. That's how we learn as children. Children believe everything adults say. We agree with them. And our faith is so strong that the belief system controls our whole dream of life. We didn't choose these beliefs, and we may have rebelled against them, but we were not strong enough to win the rebellion. You ain't gonna get rid of that belief. It's kind of like, it reminds me of that scripture, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he is old, he will not depart from it. It's always going to be there. Even if a person walks away from that particular belief system that you were raised with, it's still there. That it was a seed that was planted in you. Okay. The result is to surrender to the beliefs with our agreement. I love this right here, what I'm about to read. I call this process the domestication of humans. And through this domestication, we learn how to live and how to dream. And usually you're right. We be dreaming 24/7. We go through our whole life just dreaming. What's your dream? I have a dream. I want to fulfill my dream. It's all about a goddamn dream. Okay. In human domestication, The information from the outside dream that is outside of you, that was kind of, in a way, forced upon you, okay? Not maliciously necessarily, because they was having the same dream. Okay, somebody fed them that dream. Okay. The information from the outside dream is conveyed to the inside dream. So, what you have been told outside of you to think, believe, and how to be, you absorb it, you accept it from that authority, okay? And it is conveyed to the inside, your you within. And then that creates a whole belief system. And you just be living off that dream for the rest of your damn life. First, the child is taught the names of things: mom, dad, milk, bottle. Day by day, at home, at school, at church, and from television, we are told, all kind of media, mass media, okay? And we are told how to live, what kind of behavior is acceptable. Once again, the outside dream teaches us how to be human. We have a whole concept of what a woman is and what a man is. These are not things, people think that these thoughts, this dream and this belief system and how they see the world, they think that is natural. No, that all people think this way. No. Okay. They're different thoughts. Or that's just the way it is. No, this is something that has been crafted before you ever came here. And it's been fed to you. And you absorbed it. As a child, children, they have no defense. You absorbed it and you believed it and you dreamed it. What they told you from the outside of you, you absorbed it, conveyed to the inside, and then you lived it out, okay, to the best of your ability. And we also learn to judge. We judge ourselves, judge other people, judge the neighbors based off of this dream here. Children are domesticated. Now, this ain't just something right here what he about to say. Children are domesticated the same way that we domesticate a dog, a cat, or any other animal. In order to teach a dog, we punish the dog and we give it rewards. We train our children, whom we love, hopefully, but we know how that goes, so much the same way that we train any domesticated animal. How? Now, somebody may be saying, I mean, listen. With a system of punishment and reward. That's the system. Everything's punishment and reward. We are told, you're a good boy or you're a good girl when we do what mom and dad wants us to do. When we don't, we are a bad girl or a bad boy. Now, I did my chaplain residency at Cleveland Clinic when my daughter was 1 year old. I was talking to my supervisor. His name, once again, was Dennis Kinney. And because we had to do one-on-one sessions. And I was telling him, he's asking about my relationship with my daughter and how I like being a parent, blah, blah, blah. And I was doing that, okay, good girl. When she did whatever. Okay. That was positive. And he said, no, don't ever say that. And I was puzzled. He said, she's always a good girl. Okay. Therefore, that will eliminate what we're about to read here. You don't want her to grow up with that. Oh, okay, if I do what people say I'm supposed to do, then I'm good. When I go against the grain, then I'm bad. Well, she will convey that. She will take that outside dream and convey it to her within and live that the rest of her life. Okay. In other words, he said, you may say like, okay, good job. But she's always a good girl. When we went against the rules, we were punished. When we went along with the rules, we got a reward. We were punished many times a day, and we were also rewarded many times a day. Soon we became afraid of being punished and also afraid of not receiving the award. Just constant fear. Sounds like the dream, ain't nothing but fear-based. Okay, but let's keep going. Which it is. Okay, even with whether you come from a religious perspective or a spiritual perspective, if I don't do this, okay, This dogmatic thing that I was told, that somebody told me some arbitrary rule that I must do this, then that means I'm healing. If I don't do it, then that means I'm not healing. Who told you that? And why do you choose to believe that? But nevertheless, okay. Or this thing of, if I act this way, in a way that it's positive, spiritual, or whatever the religion said, whatever, then I'm going to go to heaven. Okay, if not, then I'm going to go to hell. Okay. So we've been had this outside dream, and it told us how to be, even for the reward and punishment is going even into the afterlife here. But let's keep going. Okay. The reward is the attention that we get from our parents or from other people like siblings, teachers, and friends. We soon develop a need to hook other people's attention in order to get the reward. It's a constant validation, constant need for validation based off of these things that we have been fed. Again, these arbitrary rules, these rules that what is it based in? Where does it come from? Okay, like I say, these rulers, powers, principalities, okay, that sit in high places. Okay. The reward feels good, and we keep doing what others want us to do in order to get the reward. With that fear of being punished and that fear of not getting the reward. Okay. Punishment, not being paid attention to, or not, well, damn, not sure now with social media likes and all of that kind of stuff, and people saying your name and all of that kind of stuff. Not being loved, feeling like we're not loved, and etc., etc. All the needs that human beings have. We won't get it if we don't do the right thing. Okay. Or with fear that we won't get it if we don't fall in line and do what is acceptable, what we have been told is acceptable, an acceptable way to be and act and look and etc., etc. Okay. And this is all, again, outside dream based off of things and people once again outside of ourselves. Okay. I'm getting warm. Let me drink some water. I'm sitting up under a blanket though, I ain't gonna lie. So I got on shorts. Excuse me, I get cold, I get hot, I get cold, I get hot. Okay. But let's keep on going. Okay. Let me see. Okay. I can't, I'm just gonna start here because I lost where I was. Okay, yeah, okay. So like I said, soon we become afraid of being punished and also afraid of not receiving the reward. The reward is the attention that we get from our parents or from other people like siblings, teachers, friends. Okay, accepted. The need to be accepted. That's a reward. Once we're accepted, for human beings, that's a reward. Okay, not for everybody. But I think even if you don't need to be accepted by a group, there is still a need because this thing has been a seed that has been planted in us and rooted, okay, and it grows within us. There is still a need for acceptance in some way, shape, or form. All right. It may not be a group. It may not be a like. It might just be, again, from a teacher, whatever. Maybe small. It doesn't always have to be big. Okay. We soon develop a need to hook up, once again, other people's attention in order to get the reward. The reward feels good, and we keep doing what others want us to do in order to get the reward. And sometimes you keep doing what they want you to do, and they still ain't gonna reward you, motherfucking ass. Not in the way that you may want, okay? And even if they do, then you're continuously on that wheel of doing what other people want you to do to get the reward. With that fear of being punished and that fear of not getting the reward, we start what? Pretending to be what we are not. Just to please others, just to be good enough for someone else. Now, I saw something today that was highly disturbing. Okay. I'm not going to go into the specifics. But I saw someone completely transform, and change their whole entire being. Even the sound of their voice, even the way that they talk. And when I say that, I don't mean just the way they talk, the sound of their voice. And I looked, I said, that's got to be pretty hard. How do you keep that up when that's not even the natural tone of your voice? How long do you do that? The whole everything. They told it was like a total unaliving or killing of their person to become a whole nother person for the acceptance of others. It was disturbing. It was sad to see. But I understand based off of what I'm reading. I'm gonna read that again. With that fear of being punished and that fear of not getting the reward, and this is not the only person who's done that, but it definitely subbing in schools. I see that shit with young people. Okay, usually like middle school. Okay, but I'm not saying that to be condescending to the person I saw do it, the adult that I saw do it, but adults will do it as well. Okay. But it shows you how high the need is for human beings to be accepted, to get that reward, that validation. Okay. That they would completely transform their being on purpose and create a whole nother personality, a whole persona, just for the acceptance, just for the reward. Okay. Now, in other words, this person was saying to themselves, now I am who and what society deems or says I should be. Or maybe what the mother says I should be, or the father says that I should be, or whatever. I never, it was screaming. I was never who and what these people wanted me to be. I never got the reward. Maybe I was never the popular person in school, or whatever the case, whatever the reward is, I never got it. Okay. So this person went on a path to do whatever they felt they needed to do to receive the reward, but at the expense of their own being, to please others. Okay, just to be good enough for someone else, as he's saying here. We try to please mom and dad. We try to please the teachers at school. We try to please the church. And so we start acting, is what he's saying here. And that's exactly what this person is doing. We pretend to be what we are not because we are afraid of being, here it is, rejected. Again, accepted. Acceptance is the reward. The fear of being rejected becomes the fear of not being good enough. But again, to whom? To this outside dream, to those outside of us, to the rules, the regulations, the laws, the things that say that is what a woman is, or that is what a man is, or that is what this is, that was, and I'm gonna do it, goddamn, to be accepted, to get the reward, not be rejected. Okay. Eventually, we become someone that we are not, and that's exactly what I saw. We become a copy, of mama's beliefs, daddy's beliefs, society's beliefs, religion's beliefs, social media's beliefs. Okay. All our normal tendencies are lost in the process of domestication. That's what I said. How do you change the tone and the inflection of, like, you hear my voice is kind of heavy, Okay. I had one girl. She liked me. And she said to me, "Oh, your voice." She said, "That voice is so deep." I was just like, okay. But anyway, I'm just saying, I say it's heavy, okay? But this person, it would be like me talking to you like this. And that's not my natural energy. That's not my normal way of being. And when we are old enough for our mind to understand, we learn the word no. The adults say, don't do this and don't do that. We rebel and say, no. When your babies is little, they about 2 or 3. I remember my daughter when she got into that no. You hold it. She just a little taller. When we walking wherever through the parking lot, where I grab her hand, no, because they're finding their independence. Okay, that they're separate. They're a separate being from you. Okay, but let's just keep on going. We rebel because we are defending our freedom. We want to be ourselves. Just like I just said, no. Okay, I don't need you to hold me. I realize now that I am an independent being of you. Okay. We want to be ourselves, but we are very little, and the adults are big and strong. The authority, they're the authorities. Okay. After a certain time, we are afraid because we know that every time we do something wrong, we are going to be punished. Okay. Fear. All of this shit is fear-based. The domestication is so strong that at a certain point in our lives, we no longer need anyone to domesticate us. Okay, you like what it say about the slaves in America, the black slaves in America. Hell, you domesticate them mentally that they belong in the back, or they got to walk through the back door because they're less than. You don't have to domesticate it. I mean, you don't have to do the shit no more. You don't have to tell them no more. They're gonna naturally do it because it's here. Seed has been planted. Their mothers, their fathers, their sisters, their brothers who were born into the same system told them, watch it now. You belong in the back. Okay. Until someone rebels and say, no, I don't. We don't. We don't need mom or dad, the school, or the church to domesticate us. We're so well trained that we are our own domesticator, once again. And our peers will reinforce the domestication. We are an auto-domesticated animal. We can now domesticate ourselves according to the same belief system we were given. And using the same system of punishment and reward. So what was done to us, in other words, we will do that to ourselves as well as others. Okay. We punish ourselves when we don't follow the rules according to our belief system. Like I said, we do it to ourselves. We reward ourselves when we are the good boy or good girl. The belief system is like a book of law that rules our mind. When I went away to college, I did my first year of college at community college, Tri-City. Then I went away to college. I never had any boyfriends. Okay. In high school, none of that shit. So my first year away, sitting around with my friends. Okay. The other girls in the dorm and shit. They talking about their boyfriends. They talking about their relationships. And I was always so perplexed. Because I wanted to make sure that when I got a boyfriend or I met somebody that I liked, okay, he liked me, I wanted to make sure I did it right. But the more I listen, I think to myself, it sounds like it's some book out there that I didn't read. And nobody told me about this book about how you're supposed to be in a relationship. And I was just so afraid. I just knew that I was just going to do it all wrong, okay? But let's just keep on going. But that's like this. The belief system is like a book of law that rules our mind. But ain't no specific book of law. These are things that we've been told. A dream that we've been given. Without question, he says, whatever is in the book of law is our truth. Question, that's what I said, question all things. You do not have to believe something and live off something because something outside of you told you this is how it has to be. And if you don't do it this way, then you're going to be punished. And if you do it this way, this is the right way, then you're going to be rewarded. Especially when it comes to, and I'm not saying especially like only that, but I'm looking at some of the rules and things that I hear in like spiritual, quote unquote, spiritual community. How do we define that then? Where did you get that particular, that it got to be that way? Where'd you get that from? Who told you that? And what is that based off of? It's some just kind of arbitrary thing that's out there. And other people outside of you who are part of the spiritual community told you this is how it has to be. So what? You accepted it and absorbed it, just like what he, not me, okay, what this man, the man, Don Miguel Ruiz, once again, okay. We base all of our judgments according to the book of law, even if these judgments go against our own inner nature. How do you get out? By going within. Not what's outside of you, what someone or something told you. What does your inner nature, the God within you, say to you? Your intuition, your inner being, your quote unquote inner standing. Even moral laws like the Ten Commandments are programmed. These are programs. These are programs. This dream, this belief system, our program enter our mind in the process of domestication. So you fall in line. Ain't just for a group of people, just that oppressed group of people. No, it's for everybody. Everybody got to fall in line. Who wants us to fall in? Powers, rulers, principalities that sit in high places, that control you and me. One by one, all these agreements go into the book of law, and these agreements rule our dream. Okay. They say, in our waking moments that this is actually a dream, and when we sleep, that's what's real. But okay, so this dream, this man right here is a dream, and actually this information too is in the introduction that I didn't read. Okay, about this concept here. There's something in our mind that judges everybody and everything, including the weather, the dog, the cat, everything. We judge everything. People always say, don't judge. We judge everything all the time. The inner judge uses what is in our book of law to judge everything we do and don't do. Everything we think and don't think. Oh, I shouldn't think that. Why not? It came from within you. Difference is, how do you act on it? Okay. And you can go deeper than that and still say, and yeah. In everything we feel and don't feel. Everything lives under the tyranny of this judge. Every time we do something that goes against the book of law, the judge says we are guilty. We need to be punished. We should be ashamed. Excuse me. This happens many times a day, day after day, like I said, for the rest of your life, for all the years of our lives. There's another part of us that receives the judgments, and this part is called the victim. The victim carries the blame, the guilt, and the shame. It is the part of us that says, poor me, I'm not good enough. I'm not intelligent enough. I'm not attractive enough. I'm not worthy of love. Poor me, constantly. I will say one thing that, I've done it in my life. I'm not pointing at anyone. I've done this myself, but one thing when I see some of these videos or people, because they're so busy worried about the judgment, worried about being accepted, they will get on their video, oh, I look a mess today. And actually that person does not look a mess that day. Okay, maybe they didn't put their makeup on, or maybe they're not, whatever. No, you look, And even if you do, so don't say that. There are many moments, and you're not the only person, many moments and times when human beings may be looking a quote unquote mess. They didn't, groom themselves like an animal. Like what he's saying, has to be groomed. They didn't groom themselves that day, okay, the way they like to. Constantly judging and thinking that, saying that is going to bring some kind of mercy to you from other people's eyes. Putting yourself down because you're afraid of how you're going to be judged. You're afraid that you won't be accepted. You won't get the reward, the validation that, you are okay as you are. The big judge agrees and says, yes, you are not good enough. And this is all based on a belief system that we never chose to believe. We didn't choose it. It was given to us. This is what you gonna believe. This is what it is. Not to be questioned. Okay. These beliefs are so strong that even years later, when we are exposed, here it is, to new concepts and try to make our own decisions, we find that these beliefs will control our lives. People talk about getting into spirituality, religion, I've heard from a religious perspective, but as well as spirituality, it is meant to set you free. Okay. But we find that it's not doing that. We will learn, we will read books, we will learn concepts, we will learn words and their meanings and so on and so forth, but not allow it to do what it was meant to do, which is to set us free. So because you read books and concepts and ideas and theories and so on and so forth, and you can preach them and speak them and so on and so forth, yet what has not occurred within, what people may call healing, or here, what's happening is them old beliefs still controlling your life, controlling our lives, because that shit was thrown at us, not just from the moment of birth, but even in conception within the womb. It's fed to us through the blood, through the forming and the shaping of another person's, two other people's DNA. It is in what they think and believe. It's in their physical being as well that forms and shapes and makes you. These powers, principalities that be, they're brilliant. They're brilliant. I'm not saying it is positive what they have done, but they're brilliant. They understand what they have done, and they know how well it works and how hard it is to break free from the jail and prison that they have imposed upon us. Whatever goes against the book of law will make you feel a funny sensation in your solar plexus, and it's called fear. Breaking the rules in the book of law opens your emotional wounds. Absolutely. Go against the grain. They got so brilliant with it that the people that did go against the grain at one point, they made that the common thing. It's no longer against the grain. It opens emotional wounds, and your reaction is to create emotional poison. Because everything that it is in the book of law has to be true, right? Anything that challenges what you believe is going to make you feel unsafe. There it is. That's going to make you feel uncomfortable. It's going to rock your very foundation, and the very foundation of what you're being, your existence, that root chakra. Not the root. Because it's rooted in you. Even if the book of law is wrong, it makes you feel safe. And people feel comfortable in their dysfunction, and you feel safe in it. Even if I shouldn't be doing this, or this goes against how I truly feel, so on and so forth, but this is what I was taught. I dated this guy one time, and not everything, but so many things, and he would always say, well, this is what I was taught, this is what I was taught, this is what I was taught. And I would say to him, just because it's what you were taught doesn't mean that it was right. Doesn't mean that it was good, doesn't mean that it was healthy for you. Apparently it's not. That is why we need a great deal of courage to challenge our own beliefs. It takes courage. Not about courage with other people, about courage with the self. I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to make a change. Because even if we know we didn't, I'm talking to the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to make a change. No question or whatever could have been any clearer. If you want to make the world a better place, you got to look at yourself. Because again, as he stated here in this chapter that I'm reading, we are all interconnected and we all agree. It would take one or few, not a lot, to go against the grain and say, hey, something is wrong with this agreement that we have all made. Changes that major changes don't happen with lots of people. It happens with small groups of people. Just read history. It's over and over and over and over again. Small groups of people begin to break the agreement. And then it becomes, over time, okay, a large, movement. Because even if we know we didn't choose all these beliefs, it is also true that we agreed to all of them. The agreement is so strong that even if we understand the concept of it not being true, we feel the blame, the guilt, and the shame that occur if we go against these rules. You should read, I read one time years ago about the guilt that people feel when they leave cults. It's the same thing. Yeah. And it's so funny how people just talk about cults. This whole everything is just culture, cult. When people leave it, people leave the ideas, they leave the book of life, they walk away from those things that they agreed upon. You will feel, it can just be in a family. It can be simply between two people. Okay. Just as the government has a book of laws that rule the society's dream, our belief system is the book of laws that rules our personal dream. All these laws exist in our mind. We believe them. And the judge inside us bases everything on these rules. Excuse me. The judge decrees, and the victim suffers the guilt and punishment. But who says there is justice in this dream? True justice is paying only once for each mistake. True injustice is paying more than once for each mistake. Wow. Okay. I may not read all of this. Okay. How many times do we pay for one mistake? The answer is thousands of times. The human is the only animal on earth that pays 1,000 times for the same mistake. The rest of the animals pay once for every mistake they make, but not us. You know, people hold shit against you. Okay. Or you'll hold that shit against yourself. That's why people say, when they talk about forgive, my thing is, hell, forgive yourself first. Before you dare forgive someone else. I mean, I'm not talking about every single situation. Because you are the only one that exists. Okay. But anyway. The rest of the animals pay once for every mistake they make, but not us. We have a powerful memory. We make a mistake, we judge ourselves, we find ourselves guilty, and we punish ourselves. If justice exists, then that was enough. We don't need to do it again. But every time we remember, we judge ourselves again, we are guilty again, and we punish ourselves again and again and again. If we have a wife or husband, he or she also reminds us of the mistake. That's what I just said. So we can judge ourselves again. They remind us of the mistake, and then we feel bad again, judging ourselves again. Goddamn. Yeah, I fucked up. Okay, 10, 20 years ago. Shit. Okay. Betty Sue reminded me of that shit. And making me feel bad all over again. I feel bad all over again. We punish ourselves again and find ourselves guilty again. Is this fair? How many times do we make our spouse, our children, or our parents pay for the same mistake? Every time we remember the mistake, we blame them again and send them all the emotional poison we feel at the injustice. And then we make them pay again for the same mistake. Is that justice? Now, I know when I studied with the Hebrews, that was one thing. I can't remember what that holy day or event was where we would have to, if we wronged someone, okay, we would have to apologize to that person. But see, that person, not in this society, in this particular society, people had this thing where, well, I apologize. Okay. But their thing was, if you apologize, that person has every right to tell you exactly what it is that you did to them that hurt them. And you guys, this is part of the practice here. And you have to sit there and you listen to it. Okay, and once it's said and done, once they're said and done, then that's it. We don't bring that up no more. It's kind of like in, the church where they will say, God will forgive you and throw it into the sea of forgetfulness. Now it's over. That don't exist no more. Apology has been made. You have expressed how it made you feel, and now it's done and over with. But let's get back to this. The judge in the mind is wrong because the belief system, the book of law, is wrong. The whole dream is based on false law. Again, based on, where does this shit come from? What is it based on? That it is 100% absolute. It absolutely is not. But we made to believe that it is. So we go against it, what makes us uncomfortable. We know we don't feel safe. We got to believe and feel and know and do and be what this arbitrary thing out there told us that don't have nothing to do with you. It's all from outside of you. 95% of the beliefs we have stored in our minds are nothing but lies. Absolutely. And we suffer because we believe all the lies and then try to live out the lies and wonder why life isn't working for us. In the dream of the planet, it is normal for humans to suffer, to live in fear, and to create emotional dramas. The outside dream is not a pleasant dream. It is a dream of violence, a dream of fear, a dream of war, a dream of injustice. It sure enough is, honey. Everything is based on fear and violence of some sort, if not physical violence, mental, spiritual, psychological, emotional. I be wanting to watch a movie, even a comedy sometimes. It's like, damn, look the theme of this shit right here. Fighting, getting hatred. I mean, it's just constant. Okay. It has become entertainment. And it's been that way in this society. It's definitely this culture. This shit was built on war. It's a war-based culture. Western society. Okay. The personal dream of humans will vary, but globally, it is mostly a nightmare. If we look at human society, we see a place so difficult to live in because, once again, it is ruled by fear. All of this shit is fear-based. Throughout the world, we see human suffering, anger, revenge, addictions, violence in the street, and tremendous injustice. It may exist at different levels in different countries around the world, but fear is controlling the outside dream. That one part kind of reminded me of Siddhartha Gautama, who became known as the Buddha, how, he was in a prison, a pleasant prison, and when he went out in a castle, in the, on the royal grounds, and then when he went out and saw the world, the reality of the world, he was so disillusioned by all the shit. He had to walk away and try to find himself and figure out what the hell is this all about. Okay. Then who am I really? Okay. What's the purpose of life? What's the purpose of living? Is this how it really is? And that was his quest, to become enlightened on that for himself. If we compare the dream of human society with the description of hell that religions all around the world have promulgated, we find they are exactly the same. Religions say that hell is a place of punishment, reward and punishment, the dream. A place of fear, pain, suffering, a place where the fire burns you. Fire is generated by emotions that comes from fear. Okay. Whenever we feel the emotions of anger, jealousy, envy, or hate, we experience a fire burning within us. We are living in a dream of hell. And, it just seems as though these things here have been magnified, I want to say times 10, maybe times 100, goddamn, okay, and are constantly being shoved down our throats. Okay? We don't have to necessarily engage in to an extent, okay, because everywhere you go, there it is. right? So then that makes our personal dream a dream of hell. If you consider hell as a state of mind, then hell is all around us. Others may warn us that if we don't do what they say we should do, we will go to hell. Didn't I say that already? Yeah. Even if it's not from a religious perspective, the spiritual perspective, people still say if you don't do that, then you're gonna become karmic. Well, I don't want to do that. That's the reaction. Well, I don't want to be that. I don't want to do that. Fear. And reality is we don't even know if that's something that's real. Because sometimes when you look at some of the things that I'm not saying for fact or absolute, but some of the things that we say in the spiritual community, some of them, I'm like, well, it just sounds, some of this begins to sound like superstition, just like religion. Where did it come from? Who says that that's the absolute? And is that really spiritual? A spiritual thing? Okay. Bad news. We are already in hell, including the people who tell us that. No human can condemn another to hell because we are already there. Others can put us into a deeper hell, true, but only if we allow this to happen. Every human has his or own personal dream, and just like the society dream, it is often ruled by fear. We learn to dream hell in our own life, in our personal dream. The same dreams, the same fears manifest in different ways for each person, of course, but we experience anger, jealousy, hate, envy, and other negative emotions, okay? And it's normal to experience those emotions, but shit, hell, this shit is just, like I said, it's time 10. It is. It's just like in Star Wars when they was like, okay, goddamn, we got to bring balance back to the motherfucking force. Okay, we are the force. Your being is the force. The force. Okay, there needs to be balance, the yin and the yang principle, not one overruling the other. And that's what we have. Our personal dream can also become an ongoing nightmare where we suffer and live in a state of fear, just living in fear, constant fear, to the point where you have to become something that you're not. But we don't need to dream a nightmare. It is possible to enjoy a pleasant dream. Okay. All of humanity is searching for truth, justice, and beauty. I'm reading this book by, I don't know if anybody's familiar who's watching, by the name of Dr. Muata Ashby. It's called The Comedic Tree of Life. And in it, that's what he was saying, that, on the Comedic Tree of Life, that is the goal here. That is why we exist here in this space and time. Okay. In this search for basically, the truth here of ourselves, of our being. We are on an eternal search for the truth because we only believe in the lies we have stored in our mind. We are searching for justice because in the belief system we have, there is no justice. We search for beauty because it doesn't matter how beautiful a person is. We don't believe that person has beauty, or that person doesn't believe that they have beauty. We keep searching and searching when everything is already within us. Been there, honey. Hold on, I'm gonna play my flute music again. I think it's pretty. All right. We keep searching and searching when everything is already within us. But look at this. He says there is no truth to find. Wherever we turn our heads, all we see is the truth. But with the agreements and beliefs we have stored in our mind, we have no eyes for this truth. He's got a quote at the beginning of this chapter by John Lennon. Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see. I don't see shit. Your eyes are closed. What did the man say when Neil opened his eyes? My eyes hurt there because you ain't never used them before. Okay? Some muscle you've never used before. You do not see. You don't see the truth. Why don't you see the truth? Because of all the agreements, all the beliefs, all the things that the rulers, powers, principalities that be that sit in high places, the spiritual wickedness of the world, so on and so forth, have fed you. They don't want you to see the truth. They want you to be forever searching and searching and searching, and then put you in a situation where you get goddamn it's so hard to search because you just got to pay fucking bills. I got to get a job. And then you put you in a space and place of thinking that the particular job you have, the particular career you have, equates to who you are as a human being. Now I'm somebody because I am a. No, it's a job. It's a task. It's a means to an end. It's not who you are. But that's part of the belief system, the outside belief system that we have agreed upon. That has been stored in our minds. So you don't have you know what truth you're talking about. We don't see the truth because we are blind. What blinds us are all those false beliefs we have in our mind. We have the need to be right and to make others wrong. That's the competitiveness that he was talking about, the competition, the comparing. We trust what we believe, and that's for approval, okay? But here, back to this. We trust what we believe, and our beliefs set us up for suffering. It is as if we live constantly trying to get that reward, based upon these false belief systems, based upon things that are not true, based upon things that are lies, based upon things that keep you trapped in the material realm and keep you outside of your being and outside of yourself. It is as if we live in the middle of a fog that doesn't let us see any further than our own nose. We live in a fog that is not even real. This fog is a dream, your personal dream of life, what you believe, all the concepts you have about what you are, all the agreements you have made with others, with yourself, and even with God. Ain't that something? Okay. Let me turn on this air. I'm getting hot again. That's when that truth be coming out. The heat. Okay. The fire that he talked about. All right. Your whole mind is a fog, which the Toltecs, and that was at the beginning of the book, who they were, okay? But called a mitote. Your mind is a dream where a thousand people talk at the same time and nobody understands each other, especially with social media. God damn, there's so many voices. I remember one time years ago, I had deactivated my Facebook. I had been on there for a while. I was talking to somebody and they asked me why. I said, because it's too many voices. It's too many voices. I don't need to absorb and take in what everybody is saying. And their opinion about everything is just too much. Constantly. Your mind is a dream, once again, where 1,000 people talk at the same time and nobody understands each other. This is the condition of the human mind, a big mitote or a fog. And with that big mitote, you cannot see what you really are. You cannot see who you really are. In India, they call the mitote Maya, again, illusion. We find that in Hinduism. Okay. It is the personality's notion of I am. Everything, not the truth, notion. Everything you believe about yourself and the world, all the concepts and programming, these are programs. Not truth. It's a program. You have in your mind all the matote, the fog. We cannot see who we really are, and we cannot see that we are not free. That is why humans resist life. To be alive is the biggest fear humans have. Death is not the biggest fear we have. That's like my dad told me years ago when I first graduated college. I was crying about something, child. You know how it is when you're a girl crying to daddy. And he said to me, you don't have a fear of failure. You have a fear of success. So here, it's not Death is not the biggest, the biggest fear. Our biggest fear is taking the risk to be alive, the risk to be alive and express what? Not what others say we are, not what others, these, I don't want to say others, this outside dream that these powers have told us that we're supposed to be. Okay, that they know goes exactly, that goes against who and what you are. Okay, but express what and who we really are. That's a risk because it may go against the outside belief system, the outside dream. And that's when people get to calling you names, and you weird, and you strange, and you funny, and something wrong with you, and you crazy, and you a psychopath, and you on drugs, and all of these things because you have the courage, and you're lost because you have the courage to be who and what you really are. That goes against the belief system because it does not resonate with the God being that you are. They damn sure don't want you to reach that status. We have learned to live our lives trying to satisfy other people's demands, everything outside of us. For what? For that reward. We have learned to live by other people's point of view because of the fear of not being accepted, here it is, and of not being good enough for someone else. During the process of domestication, we form an image of what perfection is in order to try to be good enough. It's an image. It's not reality. We create an image of how we should be in order to be accepted by everybody. And everybody ain't going to accept you no matter what you do. We especially try to please the ones who love us, like mom and dad. And sometimes the mom and dad don't love us, and we create this so that they will love us. But if they don't, they simply don't. Okay, like mom and dad, big brothers and sisters, the priests and the teachers, so on and so forth, the authorities here. Trying to be good enough for them, we create an image. We create an image of perfection, but we don't fit this image. Okay. If you have to totally change even how you talk, how you walk, what is normal and natural for you rather, okay, then that's false. How long do you do that? How long do you live like that? How do you be that? Because the true you is going to come out at some point. The true you going to get tired of that shit. But now people, they got their magic to help them do it. And that turns on you. Because if you done called on some kind of spirit or entity or whatever, now you got to pay me, motherfucker. And it just goes on and on and on, and that's suffering. That's not living. We create this image, but this image is not real. We are never going to be perfect from this point of view. Never. Why? Not being perfect, we reject ourselves. Okay, from this point of view. And the point of view of a world that's telling you to be something that is not even real, that is not even true, and those powers and principalities and that spiritual wickedness in high places, they know it's not real, and they know that what they're telling you is not real, and they know that the world and realm that we are in, or that they created, or whatever the case may be, is not perfect, but yet you are the perfect being. But you keep demeaning yourself, saying that you're not perfect because you don't fit the false belief system. That's what's not perfect, because it is a lie. You are not a lie. Now you can make yourself a lie. And then when you do that, you deny your perfection. And the level of self-rejection depends on how effective the adults were in breaking our integrity. After domestication, it is no longer about being good enough for anybody else. We are not good enough for ourselves because we don't fit with our own image of perfection. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being what we wish to be, or rather what we believe we should be, to get that reward, to get that acceptance. We cannot forgive ourselves for not being perfect, but not realizing that what you have been fed is what's not perfect. You already are. You sit higher than the lie, this arbitrary book of law. You are higher than that. You're greater than that. But we have been taught and it has been placed in us to reduce ourselves and to be submissive to it and to be inferior to it and to obey it and believe it and trust it, not the God that you are. We know we are not what we believe we are supposed to be, and so we feel false, frustrated, and dishonest. We try to hide ourselves and we pretend to be what we are not. The result is that we feel inauthentic and we're a social mask to keep others from noticing us. So they don't talk about us and make fun of us and laugh at us and all that. That's why it takes courage to be yourself. We are so afraid that somebody else will notice that we are not what we pretend to be. We judge others according to our image of perfection as well, and naturally they fall short of our expectations. And hell, they ain't supposed to be what you are. That's your universe over there. That's your world over there. That's your force over there. Hell are you talking about? But you do that because of the fear that you live in, that you are not what society says, what the lies say you should be, what this arbitrary fake book of law, false book of law says you should be, this outside dream says you should be. We dishonor us because everything we do is about ourselves. It's never about anyone else. We dishonor ourselves just to please other people. We even do harm to our physical bodies just to be accepted by others. Oh, Lord have mercy. Especially here in the good old U.S. Or probably Western culture altogether. Maybe not just the U.S., but Western culture altogether. You see teenagers taking drugs just to avoid being rejected by other teenagers. They are not aware that the problem is that they don't accept themselves. They reject themselves because they are not what they pretend to be. They wish to be a certain way, but they are not, and for this they carry shame and guilt. Humans punish themselves endlessly for not being what they believe they should be. They become very self-abusive, and they use other people to abuse themselves as well. But nobody abuses us more than we abuse ourselves, and it is the judge, the victim, and the belief system that make us do this. True. We find people who say their husband or wife or mother or father abused them, but you know that we abuse ourselves much more than that. The way we judge ourselves is the worst judge that ever existed. If we make a mistake in front of people, we try to deny the mistake and cover it up. But as soon as we are alone, the judge becomes so strong, the guilt is so strong, and we feel stupid or so bad or so unworthy. In your whole life, nobody has ever abused you more than you have abused yourself. And the limit of your self-abuse is exactly the limit that you will tolerate from someone else. Abso-fucking-lutely. If someone abuses you a little more than you abuse yourself, you will probably walk away from that person. But if someone abuses you a little less than you abuse yourself, you will probably stay in the relationship and tolerate it endlessly. If you abuse yourself, and abuse is more than just physical. If you abuse yourself very badly, you can even tolerate someone who beats you up, humiliates you, and treats you like dirt. Why? Because in your belief system, you say, I deserve it. This person is doing me a favor by being with me. I'm not worthy of love and respect. I'm not good enough. We have the need to be accepted and to be loved by others, but we cannot accept and love ourselves. That's work. It's not just to say, oh, I love myself. That's work. You know, like they say, love is an action word. And I'm saying it's work not because I'm saying that, you know, we just so weak and miserable and no, because of the seeds, this false dream, this arbitrary book of law that this author has talked about here, because of these things that have been placed upon us. from conception forward. Rules, thought systems, so on and so forth, that have been here thousands of years before you was even a thought, and they still exist. The more self-love we have, the less we will experience self-abuse. Self-abuse comes from self-rejection, and self-rejection comes from having an image of what it means to be perfect and never measuring up to that ideal. It's just sad to see someone deny themselves and who they are to try to be something that something outside of them says they should be, because they need the reward that he's talking about, the acceptance, the validation. Our image of perfection is the reason we reject ourselves. It is why we don't accept ourselves the way we are, and why we don't accept others the way they are. Okay, in closing, prelude to a new dream. There are thousands of agreements you have made with yourself, with other people, with your dream of life, with God, with society, with your parents, with your spouse, with your children. But the most important agreements are the ones you made with yourself. In these agreements, you will tell yourself who you are, what you feel, what you believe, and how to behave. The result is what you call personality. In these agreements, you say, this is what I am, this is what I believe. I can do certain things and some things I cannot do. This is reality, that is fantasy. This is possible, that is impossible. One single agreement is not such a problem, but we have many agreements that make us suffer, that make us fail in life. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment, you have to find the courage to break those agreements that are fear-based and claim your personal power. Okay, let me read that one more time. If you want to live a life of joy and fulfillment that is personal, that's not based on what nobody else thinks or what nobody else got to say, no outside influence, no silly ass movie or pictures on a screen of images of people that you don't know, and you don't even know if they're, this AI shit ain't new. You don't even know if the motherfuckers are real. It's personal to you. You make the determination. You have to find the courage to break those agreements that are fear-based. If it's in a place of fear, you need to break it. Because if you don't, you will be living in fear for the rest of your life. Everything that you do will be based on fear, not freedom, not love. There is no love in fear. Perfect love casts out fear. Self-love, freedom here. Okay. And claim your personal power. The agreements that come from fear require us to to expend a lot of energy. But the agreements that come from love help us to conserve energy and even gain extra energy. Each of us is born with a certain amount of personal power that we rebuild every day after we rest. Okay. That's why I say we wake up in the morning, don't just jump up, you done rested. Okay, you wake up and breathe and think. Okay. Unfortunately, we spend all our personal power first to create all these agreements. You take that personal power to just reinforce them lies. And then to keep the lies, to keep those agreements. Our personal power is dissipated by all the agreements we have created, and the result is that we feel powerless. And when you feel powerless, you will do anything. Absolutely anything. We have just enough power to survive each day, because most of it is used to keep the agreements that trap us in the dream of the planet. How can we change the entire dream of our life when we have no power to change even the smallest agreement? If we can see it is our agreement that rule our life, if we can see it, if we can see it is our agreements, that rule our own life, and we don't like the dream of our life, we need to change the agreements. Change the goddamn program. Put another program. We're programmed beings. Remove those programs, remove the agreements, and you make another. And it ain't gonna be easy when you make another one to follow because those other programs are still there. It is a concerted effort that you make daily. Hell, by every second, goddamn. Pray without ceasing. Okay. Always be in a state, okay, of consciousness of the new program. Okay, the new agreement, the agreement that resonates with you, that speak to who and what you are. Hold on for a second. You all right? Okay. All right. When we are finally ready to change our agreements, there are 4 very powerful agreements that will help us to break those agreements that come from fear and deplete our energy. Each time you break an agreement, all the power you used to create it returns to you. And that's something. Okay. Get all your power back. If you adopt these 4 new agreements, that will create enough personal power for you to change the entire system of your old agreements. You need a very strong will in order to adopt the 4 agreements. But if you can begin to live your life with these agreements, the transformation in your life will be amazing. You will see the drama of hell disappear right before your eyes. Instead of living in a dream of hell, you will be creating a new dream, your personal dream of heaven. Now, I read this book, that is chapter 1, years ago, years. I thought it was really good. And I was always the type of person, like when I read a book once, that was the end of that. You know what I'm saying? I might, go look at a page. I'm a person, I have dog ear and underline and all that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, I used to. I noticed I haven't really been doing that much lately, but so I might go back and look at something I underlined and whatnot. But for the most part, I put that was good plug. I think I've absorbed it all, and I put it on the shelf. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Okay, and I'm saying that, and when I'm saying wrong is that I thought I absorbed it all, but now I'm reading this now. Like I probably read this when I was, I don't know, like 29 or 30 or some shit like that. Okay. But here I am 53, 20 some years later. Okay. New with new experiences in my life. Okay. Reading this from a totally, from a more what I guess they would call as middle age, although the older folks be like, you still young. You know what I'm saying? But from a different perspective. Okay. With more experience. Okay. Um, and when I say more experience, just the various experiences of my life. So reading it now, it's like, like, wow. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Okay. Finding myself, some of the things that I read, I was like, yes, yes, yes. Even though I probably read this, I might have read this either when I was teaching comparative world religion, but um I can't remember if I read this before then. I might have read this before then, I don't know. But doing my own inner work and inner reflection, I'm seeing some things he said. I said, yes, 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 I understand. I hear you. Or even maybe even listening to some people here, on YouTube who have shared some things. Okay. And I'm seeing it and I'm hearing it um I'm glad, a powerful tool here. So this is maybe something that the type of book that you read it and you just revisit it. This is something that you can revisit and absorb, because these agreements that he's talking about, these lies, this arbitrary, false book of law, these things are constantly thrown at us. And since we have been, embedded and trained, okay, to believe a certain way, okay, of things that are falsehoods, that's constantly they don't take no break. The powers, principalities, they done laid the foundation. They done knitted the world and the realms with all of this, that the bullshit here, the lies and so on and so forth. Ain't no break. They don't take a break. Okay. They're controllers. Spiritual wickedness that sits in high places. Keep you from you. Okay. So they can keep their rule, their control, or whatever it is. All right. All right. But anyway, I started the chapter 2. The first agree. If you never heard, let me just say, the first agreement. I do remember when I was reading one. Okay, the first agreement is to be impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. The third is don't make assumptions, and the fourth is always do your best. I remember when I was reading don't take anything personally, I did feel a freedom, even though that was like 20 some years ago. I felt it like, in the center of my chest here, like opened up. Okay. I do remember feeling that. Okay. But anyway, again, I feel like this is a type of book that you can constantly here revisit because again, they don't take no break. Okay. Their work is great. Okay. Brilliant. I ain't saying right. I'm just saying they ain't miss nothing. They didn't leave no spot or no, what they say, no stone unturned. So why should you? Okay, so why should we? All right, that's all I got. All right. You all have favor and be blessed. Peace.